Oh, you look sexy.
Thanks, dude. I like it. I feel Rastafarian.
My dad got me that.
In Jamaica?
No, on Amazon.
On Amazon?
I can picture him like sitting at the computer, like just like, oh, Joe's gonna.
He's
Joe's
gonna love this.
Just
Because
laughing
it's
himself.
because you smoke weed.
Because it looks stupid, I guess. 'Cause it's like ironically funny.
Yeah, for all the listeners at home, I'm wearing a Rastafarian type like sweatshirt. It's very loosely knit.
It's the drug rug. They're very popular these days. Although there are ones that look cool with the same pattern and everything, just different colors. But whenever I wear that one, it's kind of I gotta play up the joke.
You can't just wear something sincerely. You can't go, you know what, I like this because my dad gave it to me and it makes me think of my father.
Well, I mean, that's what I say.
Oh, okay.
I say that, I have some lines prepared. I'm like, oh, I'll give it to my son someday. He probably won't give it to his son because the earth is going to be fucking a ball of fire by then.
You think that?
Kinda. That's the one thing I'm worried about.
Your son's son?
Well, I don't really give a shit about him. I just mean as far as like, because I'm pretty optimistic with most things, but the one thing that actually scares me is I'm pretty sure, you read the articles that say like if we don't stop doing the pollution stuff, we're all going to die by like 2040 or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. No, that can't be 2040.
Well, it's like they'll throw out like weird numbers like that. They'll be like, if we don't stop in 4 years, and it'll be an article written like 3 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, fuck, we're almost out of time.
Oh my god, what's gonna happen? I don't know enough to have an opinion on global warming, to be honest. But
do you think it's real?
yeah, I think it's real, but I don't know how bad it is. It's sort of like I don't know. Like the Holocaust. Or
9/11.
Yeah.
All those.
Like, I know it's real, but I don't know how bad it is. And then you hear about it.
If you compare it to, other stuff in history. Is
yeah, and when you hear about it, you're like, no way, dude. There's no way that's true. That can't be right.
Yeah, in 5th grade, when I was learning about the Holocaust for the first time, I was like, this is a movie, right? This is real.
In 5th grade, you couldn't figure out that could happen.
This is stupid. Why
Oh my god,
would
that's
do that?
wild. I think I got in trouble. I don't know if this is a memory. You ever tell a story and it's someone else's story?
One time I told one of Genesis's jokes as if it was mine, and I totally thought I came up with it.
Nice. Yeah, dude, I feel like that, but I feel like I laughed during a Holocaust movie or something in school, and I got in trouble because my friend was like talking to me and we were joking around while like the boy with the striped pajamas is on the projector, and I like laughed really loud, and the teacher's like, yo, are you really laughing right now? But I think this is a story someone told me.
So you weren't actually laughing at the movie?
No, but I remember sitting down on the ground.
Boy in the striped pajamas is fucking hilarious.
It was funny, dude. I remember thinking it was so funny when the kid ends up going to the camp. I fucking had to like stifle laughter.
He definitely deserved that too. Like that kid was such a dick. Like he would bring cakes to give to his friend, but like on the way he'd get hungry and eat them. And he's like, do you not know there's a Holocaust going on?
No, I think he really didn't know there was a Holocaust.
You can't tell.
Because he's like, I don't know, they were just hanging out. They were just boys.
But if you're talking to a friend and he becomes your friend and you're like yucking it up all the time, wouldn't your friend at one point, you see him and you're like, hey, how you doing? It's like, terrible. I'm in the Holocaust. This is awful.
And then he's like, I don't want to hear all that. Come on, man. Let's just have some fun. Like, you're being a real Debbie Downer about this whole gassing thing.
Also,
man.
I ate your cake on the way here, but it was really my cake.
Yeah, I mean, he was being generous. He didn't have to give him the cake.
Yeah.
I mean, because at the end, he's just like, I don't know, somehow he gets into the camp and then puts on a uniform and lines up. You know what's funny is that like that's a tragedy. It's like the biggest tragedy is that a non-Jew died.
Some poor German white kid.
Some defenseless Aryan boy.
Some actual person that we care about.
Yeah, someone worthy of having rights died by the end of it. And you're like, no.
This is perfect to write a book about.
Yeah, it's funny that was like, that's the author's point of view. They're like, how can I make the Holocaust sound bad? What if someone who didn't deserve it got it? Wouldn't that be the worst? Oh, man. I don't know.
Did I tell you the most anti-Semitic thing I did as a kid? I'm sure I've told the story.
I don't think so.
I made fun of a kid in after school for being Jewish.
What'd you say to him?
I think it was like a day-to-day thing, like, because he was our friend. And, I didn't, I think we were just, we'd make fun of him. He'd make fun of anybody. And I was like, you fucking Jew. Like, I'd just say shit like that. And then I was called in by the after school.
Did he snitch on you?
Yeah, he told her about it, and I cried in front of her.
Oh my god!
And because she wanted to like tell my mom and shit, and I'm like, bro, I don't hate Jews. This kid's our friend. I don't know why he's telling you this.
Oh my god! What a little snitch.
I guess so. I'm glad you're on my side.
Yeah, that's stupid, dude. I mean, we definitely just fucking of our friends. If you had something like that, it was gonna get mentioned. Like if you were short, you got called short. Like if you were a Jew, you got called a Jew.
Yeah, if you were black, you got
Yeah, you got called. Actually, you didn't get invited to anything like that.
No, yeah, because I'm glad you're saying that because my mom will sometimes bring that up to other people. Like if we're at a dinner conversation, you'd be like, "Remember when Joe made fun of that kid for being Jewish?"
Oh my, why?
And the only way I can defend myself now is like, "Come on, it's a little funnier, right?"
It is like silly, dude. It's like I don't know. I mean, people make fun of me for having red hair, having herpes, whatever it is. It's like if you got a thing. Yeah. It's gonna if you stick out in some way, like that. You see that kid, the fucking little dwarf kid. You see him? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
You don't know what I'm talking about?
No. What
The
are you
dwarf
talking
kid who went like viral because he's crying and he's like Australian.
Oh, like in a car?
Yeah.
I didn't know he was a dwarf. I thought
he's a dwarf.
Retarded.
He's just ugly.
Yeah, I thought he was just weird.
I mean, you're not wrong. I don't know. The mom was just like. She's Australian, you know, so she's like, look what the effect of bullying does on my son. Look at my son, he's crying right now. Oh. And then the little boy is like, I just want to kill myself.
Every day is a nightmare.
I felt bad for the kid, but I also was like, what is this mother doing?
Yeah, it's
like,
the whole thing's a bit strange.
But what made it weird was just the fact that it's like, what do you think putting this on Facebook is going to do? I mean, I have this, she's like, this is the effect of bullying that he's on kid. He wants to kill himself. My little lad wants to kill himself. And I'm just like, I don't know if that's like, I mean, I guess you can be bullied so bad that you want to kill yourself, but.
Is that an option when you're that young? Because when you get bullied when you're so young, that was never something that was like talked about. Is like, or I don't know, because once you get to like middle school, you had the girls who would like, you know, they sort of
start cutting.
Yeah, you know, but you know, I don't want to make fun of anybody, but before that, you know, you had the. He got bullied. He was
precocious. He was a precocious.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't bullied, but I definitely was. I think, like most people, fucking just a bummer. In
yeah.
Elementary school, you just kind of take it, right?
In elementary school, I was pretty outgoing and cool. And fun, and everyone liked me. And then I started having like fucking neurosis pop up, like in puberty time. I'd had it before, but it like really started affecting me a lot.
So middle school is where it got
like
bad?
Late middle school, I started being like anxious and sad.
Because before that, you were just like doing whatever.
Yeah, I didn't give a shit about much of anything. Like I was like socially anxious sometimes, like at parties and stuff, at like kids' parties, but
8th grade type scenario, the movie.
Yeah. But I remember doing that shit in the 5th grade, so I was cooler than she was. But
cooler than that girl. In 8th
yeah, I
grade.
remember like a girl was like, "Hey, you want to dance with me at this party?" I was like, "No, I don't. I really don't." I was like so noited about it. And then she's like, "Why don't you want to dance? Like, why don't you want to dance with us?" And I was just like, "I just want to sit on the couch. I'm fine."
Yeah, I remember. Well, this was brought up to me because when I watched 8th grade, I was never that anxious. But there's definitely moments where it's like you're at a thing and like everybody's like, "Oh, let's all play football outside," and you're like, "Oh, I thought it was so much more fun playing Smash Bros. Brawl." What do you mean go outside?
Oh yeah, I mean that's you. I actually liked physical activity. You know, I wasn't a fucking squeak like you.
Yeah, I can tell.
I actually played football.
You look like a goddamn Greek god.
I am fucking shredded now. For all the people at home, I'm fucking shredded.
Getting back to the gym, shower.
Yeah, dude. I fucking lifted today, boy. Did some squats. Trying to get my ass big.
No, yeah, shit sucked in elementary school, and then middle school it got better. And then
really?
Well, it got better because in elementary school, I feel like the reason I was so bummed out is because I think it was like one friend in particular, but it was like my friends just shit on me all day, and I just
you
like,
were the butt of every joke.
Yeah, it's more so like I think I wasn't like I would do a lot of things to like try to be funny and or you know I'd be the kid like fucking slamming his head on the table to get like a reaction, and then it does, and you're like, oh shit. But then you look like an idiot, and everybody just calls you weird. And I was just like, "Oh shit! How do I
balance this?
The weirdness with actually having people like me?"
Damn.
Well, I think middle school changed where it was like my friends just shit on me, and I was just like, I hate these people, or like they don't like me. And then when I got to middle school, I'm like, oh, I don't have to be friends with them.
Oh yeah, you got new
There's
friends.
So many other kids.
That was great when you got new friends. When a friend that's the best thing in the world. Where you're like, fuck these fucking people, and then eventually you're like, you know what, fuck them, and then you're alone for a month, but then you make friends,
Yeah,
you know?
yo, I can be around people I like.
Yeah,
that's
this is
fucking
crazy.
weird.
This is bizarre. No, I definitely remember that was like a college thing for me because all my college friends were just like degenerates, kind of, and like I don't know. They just all they wanted to do was get fucked up, and by the end, I just got bored. I was like too depressed to like even.
And then did you transition into comedy from
Yeah, I filled the hole with comedy instead of like whippets and shit. Yeah, yeah, dude. I guess you're 21 now.
No,
What
I'm
do you,
20.
I keep thinking you're 21.
Yeah, we talked about this the other
Yeah,
day. was
yeah, I
like,
remember
you should buy
now.
me a beer, and you're like, buy it yourself.
Yeah, I just assumed you had just turned 21 for some
Yeah,
reason.
man.
How long you been? Are you almost 21?
June 29th.
Oh, okay.
So I got like 3 months left or something like
Yeah, I'm
that.
trying to think of what I was doing. I had just started comedy when I was your age, so I was just getting away from like just fucking being
All those naughty
just being a naughty boy. Like I slowly transitioned away. I think I was losing my virginity right around this time.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was. I lost it in like March 2016.
I think we talked about that in the last podcast. Didn't we? That,
Yeah,
that one
yeah,
lady.
it always comes up.
Yo,
It's the only thing I'll talk about. The one time I had sex, dude, it was like this shit was crazy.
You still haven't come.
Yeah, I don't be nutting, dude.
What was the transition period? What'd you do in between the friends in comedy?
I just saw them less and less, and like,
Were you depressed?
no, yeah, definitely depressed before I started a comedy. Like really depressed. Not the worst I'd ever been, but definitely at a bottom
What
of
was
some
it like?
kind.
Just staying in bed all day?
No, he's staying in the apartment all day, getting stoned too often, and like,
Oh, that's the worst.
yeah, dude, just being like a kind of a recluse a little bit.
Yeah, if I spend like one day, because that's like fucking, it's like I used to be able to in high school spend like entire days just playing video games, listening to podcasts.
Yeah,
if I
not
did that
leave.
now, I'd be fucking miserable.
Yeah. I think I became like a little more extroverted as I got older or something. Because in high school, I would go to school and not talk that much to people. I wasn't particularly social, and then come home and go to my room and play video games till dinner, eat dinner, go back to my room, play video games, go to bed at 2 a.m. That was like my routine.
Living the dream.
Yeah, that was it. It was just like jerking off, fucking building computers,
Smoking weed
smoking a little bit of weed.
back in the day. Back before college.
Yeah. The most fun thing I would do in high school is just get super stoned when I would take a shower and like make it super hot and then smoke in there, blow it out the window, then go eat dinner and just fucking pig out and shit and just be fat and like get ice cream and
Eating
like
was different back then when I was stoned. I feel like even now sometimes I'll get it, but like if I was super high and like ate Oreos with milk,
oh
that
yeah,
was, like, the
you were just
fucking
like
highlight of my life.
yeah, it was like the peak existence right there.
No, yeah, I used to look forward to like I'd be in class just like, God, I can't wait to go home and get stoned. Like it's Friday. Like,
Yeah,
that's the one day we
dude.
do it.
We're gonna get stoned, go to fucking Steak and Shake, bro.
Yeah,
It's gonna be insane.
No, literally, I used to go to Burger King with my brother. Like literally, that was our routine. We used to smoke a lot of weed, go to Burger King, and I would eat 2 Whoppers back to back.
That's
I don't
what
know why
you
the
did.
fuck I ever did that.
Dude, I once ate two Chipotle burritos, just like one
That's
go.
insane.
I just felt like the biggest fattest piece of shit after though.
No, if I eat like a double quarter pounder now, I have thrown up just from eating fast food. It's so gross.
I did that the other day. I just ate a rotisserie chicken from fucking Publix. I ate like half a rotisserie chicken. I'm like, I feel so gross right now, and I just threw up.
Did you have to hide marijuana from your parents?
Yeah, I mean, sort of.
Were you good at it?
They were like lax about it, pretty much,
Okay.
and like I was pretty good about like keeping it covert that I was stoned. You know?
Mm-hmm. Did you use eye drops?
No, I
Really?
never get the real bad red eye.
I was just so sketched. I remember back when because the transition, because when I first started smoking weed, it was like I was like literally I'd be in like a Walgreens like with red eyes like with that, and I'd be like, dude, some woman just saw my eyes, she's gonna call the cops. And then the more you do it, they'll just like more relaxed you get. I remember I used to have like put like 40 Ziploc bags and like
Oh,
to
yeah,
smell,
yeah,
and,
yeah,
like, I
yeah,
had a
yeah.
little thing, and then as the years went by, I mean my brother just got less and less like careful, and then eventually we just like after like 4 years they finally caught us.
Did you get in trouble?
Oh yeah.
Oh really?
It
You got
was
in like big
bad.
trouble? Oh really?
Well, not trouble. Like, I don't remember what happened to me. I think they said we were grounded, but it was just like that day my dad was in a horrible mood. Like, 'cause I love my dad. Like, we're so tight now. But, like, when dads just walk around and they just look like fucking mad. And they're just like, they're just mad about something. And that was that day. And then he caught, like, me and my brother came home. We just reeked and we just didn't care. We were just like, whatever. And he was like, you guys are high. And literally, he like exploded and was like yelling at us and shit. And it was weird. It wasn't like we got in a lot of trouble, but it was weird for like 2 weeks. Like nobody was talking to anybody. Like it was just weird.
No, were you like how old were you?
think I was like 16 or something like that. My brother was 18.
You've been smoking weed since you're 12?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it was like 4 years where I just didn't get caught.
You started smoking weed at 12, dude? That's not... You might be mentally handicapped now.
Dude, I know I'm mentally handicapped to some degree. No, I fucking have horrible memory, and sometimes whenever I forget something, I'm just like, I was fucking 12 years old.
Yeah. I did the same thing. I started when I was like 15 or 16, and my short-term memory is really bad. But also, a side effect of anxiety is having bad memory. Bad short-term memory. Yeah, because you're always preoccupied. I don't know what the real science is behind it, but I heard it because I think we talked about this last time. Like OCD is where you don't know, you genuinely don't know if you turn the light off. You don't actually remember it as well as
keep checking.
Yeah, you don't remember it as well as people who don't have anxiety.
I listened to Ben Schwartz on Mark Maron the other day, and he was mentioning his OCD where he's just having to make sure his car's locked 50 times.
Yeah.
His stove is turned off and stuff.
Because if you genuinely remembered it, you wouldn't have to double check. There's this distrust of past experiences symptom or whatever.
So it's almost like forgetting. More
it's a little bit like forgetting, but it also makes you in a panic because you think you forgot something really important.
Yeah, and we can all relate to that to a degree. You know what I mean? I check stuff normally, but I also don't know if I have. I don't know the degree to which I have anxiety. You know what I mean? I know I have anxiety. I have experienced anxiety, but I don't know
That's a good place to be.
Anybody else?
That's a good. Don't even worry about it. I mean, as far as disorders go, I feel like a lot of the time it's exaggerated or something, or it's you shouldn't think of yourself as having this disorder, then it's sort of retroactively, you know what I mean?
I get a little annoyed, or not, maybe I just used to, is when people would be using my anxiety as an excuse, you know what I mean? Oh, I can't go to this party, or I can't do this, and I'm like, I feel like you're having a very normal experience right now.
Yeah, you are, and you're kind of caving. Maybe it's more difficult for you than other people, but that doesn't mean that you have an excuse not to do it.
Yeah.
It's showering just makes me really nervous, so I don't shower. It's okay, well, where do you draw the line? At what point? Also,
but I also don't want to be the guy who's don't be a pussy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you have to tell them. It's weird. That's what therapists exist, is so they can say don't be a pussy without saying don't be a pussy.
Yeah.
It's the whole point of cognitive behavioral therapy is to get you to face your fears, or there's some people who just can't even saying hello, how are you is traumatizing. It's really fucks with you.
Considered real anxiety.
Yeah, I mean it's okay, now raise your hand and lean forward. You have to learn all the moves it's a dance move, and then by the end you're I just did it. Holy fuck!
Yeah, you slightly. That's when I got big into old JP, old Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
Going all that psychological stuff about if somebody's afraid of elevators, you don't immediately just put them in an elevator. You kind of subtly
exposure therapy.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, you're okay, now look at an escalator. Okay, good. Now.
Same thing with depression though, because I can think of a few examples from high school of just people who just obviously depression is such it's a real thing, and I would it sucks. I would never want to put that on anybody, but it's there were people who their whole personality was that they were depressed.
Oh, yeah.
That's it was such a part of them that it's how can you possibly expect to get better if
they don't want to get better?
Yeah, it's all, and again, it's so shitty to say they were doing it for attention, but there was one girl who I'm so convinced, I'm sure she was going through it, but definitely was using it to sort of
I think
get
that's
clout.
At least part of it, but there's something to it, it's an identity thing, you're afraid of changing or something. I don't know. It's not just attention. That's probably part of it. But I feel a lot of people who are just walking around I'm so depressed, look at me, I'm depressed. It's at least well, if I'm not depressed, then who the hell am I?
Yeah, that was. Did you ever listen to Bright Eyes at all? If you were ever that emo?
No, I never listened to Bright Eyes.
No, well, they're pretty gay, but they there's a whole section on one of their albums that's basically about because Conor, his whole career, Conor Oberst was basically because it's all sad music. It's just him crying into a microphone about this and that, and there's a whole thing where he says I've not only built my identity off of being sad, but also my career basically money, and how am I ever supposed to get better if and also it almost feels good. He it's a surreal scene where he just talks about he's oh, I hate attention, I hate it, but also I keep a pin in my pocket so that if people aren't paying enough attention to me, I can stab myself and make myself cry. People pay attention.
Jesus.
But I think it was a whole thing, but that's definitely something I've had where, because when I considered myself depressed, it was it sort of became like not my identity, but I'm like, I'm depressed now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I'm depressed, Joe.
yeah. And so now if it visits back on me, it's not like if I experience depression or if I experience sadness, it's not like, you know, I'm depressed. It's more like I'm feeling this right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're not generally depressed. Like, you're not each day is this battle with depression. You know,
No.
like, you're not waking up like, fuck, I gotta get up.
And it
Like,
makes me so sad, dude. Like when my
What?
friends are like depressed and stuff.
Oh, yeah, it's brutal.
Because I'm just like, oh my god, bro, my my life is so much better than yours. Or not my life, but just my like, you know, how could I just make you happy? Like I wish I could.
Yeah, no, it's really hard. I mean, there's certain people I know, though, who have, like, genuine disorders, and it's like, if you hear what their childhood was like, you're like, okay, of course. Like, of
Yeah.
course you are fucked in some kind of way. Like, you can't just shake that off. Like, my childhood was rough at moments, but not overall it was safe. You know what I mean? Like, I have a friend who had, like, a horrific childhood who's, like, the most well-minded person ever. Like, no neuroses in him
Really?
whatsoever.
So do you think that's even like a huge factor of someone's brain, or is it just kind of like you get what you get?
I don't know. I don't know what it is, but he just was like he like used to be like homeless as a kid, and would describe, and he basically like took care of his family. Like, he like put the whole family on his back when he was like super young, and like just did all these really difficult things. And then you talk to him, and he's like, "Yo, what's up?" like
And you
he's
also
just
hear that stuff, and you're like, damn, I'm a bitch.
yeah, no, dead
I'm
ass.
complaining about what?
I'm complaining about what, dude? And he's also like fucking like doing good, and he's like completely independent and like just got his shit together quick.
Yeah.
Like, he had a rough go of it in college, but like not that bad. He was just like, oh yeah, I don't like college, I'm leaving. Like, at the end of the day, that's what it was.
Do you think that's why he's so put together now? Is like through his experiences growing up?
I think it's just yeah, at least partially because like he's been through. It's kind of one of those like, it built him, it didn't destroy him. You know what I mean? Like, now it's like he went through a horrible thing, so bad things are just kind of bad.
Yeah.
Versus like, yeah, but there's certain people like the opposite's true. Like, mad sheltered people, they're like, a leaf looks at them and they're like, oh god, I'm gonna cry. Like,
You mean those snowflake
these snowflake libs,
libtard,
dude.
yeah.
With the helicopter parents and shit, dude. I had like overbearing parents, and I know it like made me like more tentative and less outgoing and all these things because I didn't have to be.
Yeah, I'm definitely glad my parents weren't like that, because and thinking hearing like the tragic backstory shit, I don't even really know the full extent of it, but my mom is one of those who's like my dad had a pretty similar childhood that I had, but like my mom was like, I don't even want to ask her like some of the shit that happened.
Oh, yeah.
My mom was like fucking bipolar and stuff, and I've only gotten hints at like some of the stuff that was going on with her. Like my uncle, because my mom moved out of living with her mom, who was crazy, for like when she was 16, and I think her younger brother, my uncle, still lived there. And one day he just came home, and my grandma was gone.
Just
And
never.
he was like living in the house for a while, and then like the people who, like, I guess some government
Right.
people like kicked him out. They're like, you can't just like live here, like nobody's paying for it or anything. And then he was just like homeless for a while, and he just had to like hunt ducks in the park.
Holy
and, like,
shit.
fucking, yeah, no, it's like literally, I want to sit down and like ask him all these questions, and because I only know like, you know.
That's amazing.
But yeah, so anything I bring up to my mom about like this or that, but it's interesting though how much it's shaped, like especially her with money. Like she's one of could almost be on those like cheapskate shows about. Like,
Oh yeah.
Not that extreme, but just like it's like consumes her just because growing up, that's like all she thought about was just, you know.
Money, like
Yeah.
never having it.
Yeah, and so now she's like literally, it's like, Mom, we don't have to save like,
Yeah.
you know, like pennies like this, but
Yeah, that's funny. Is both my parents grew up poor, and they had opposite reactions to it. My mom was like, once I get my own fucking money, I'm buying whatever the fuck I want. Like, I'm getting this, I'm getting that. I don't give a shit. It's my money. Like, I'll blow it if I want to. And my dad grew up poor as shit, and he's like, I'm going to fucking hoard every penny. And, like, if, you know, I mean, he's not super duper cheap, but he is, like, just like, I'm not buying that. You're not getting that. No, you can't.
Are you
It's
good with money, do you
$200.
think?
No. I'm okay. I'm not great.
yeah, because I mean, hearing Louis talk about his
Oh, he's so
money
bad.
thing, yeah, it almost reminds me of myself to a certain extent. I mean, not
The
really.
impulsivity.
Well, yeah, because I know people who spend way more money than I do, especially my friends that like go out, you know, and I'm like,
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
a pub and dropping how much every weekend.
Fuck that shit.
But no, you know, that attitude of just like, fuck it, money's not real. That shit's fake, bro.
Yeah, dude, it's I don't have that. I definitely value money a lot.
Yeah, I think that's also coming from somebody who's in the college, the bright futures,
Yeah, you
attitude.
got a silver spoon in your mouth a little bit.
Right now.
Yeah, you don't need a job. You don't have a job, and you have disposable income.
Yeah.
You don't even have income. You just have disposable money.
But by the time I leave college with a film degree, bro,
Yeah, things are gonna be different, dude. I was in your spot too, and now things are getting real, and it's like not. It's like not good at first, like the first few months of being like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to pay for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Not everything. My parents are still gonna pay for like my car insurance and my phone and shit, but I'm paying rent.
Yeah.
Just being like,
that's a big step.
I need to have $600. Like at the end of it's a lot.
No,
It's
that's gotta suck.
No, I mean,
I'm just hoping that I win the lottery or something.
I mean, just coming from no experience doing that. I mean, you should just get a job. Like you should just get a job just to get a job.
Yeah, no.
And just save up money.
We'll see.
I mean, I don't know. You should.
Because my brother's a little bit of a bum right now, and just in terms of like he's not in school and not. Or it's like my parents will be like, get a job, and he's like, stop telling me things, and then sort of I have like taken upon myself to just be like, yeah, you should get a job, or just trying to like hype him up or whatever. But then I'm thinking like, dude, I don't know, if I was in his position, I'd probably be exactly the same.
It's hard to say no to it.
Yeah.
If your parents allow it, then it's hard to say no.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I think his problem especially is just that it's like working really does suck. Like working at like Bento or whatever.
Oh yeah,
just
yeah.
Like, he just hated going. And
Right.
The job I had in high school was like so easy. That was like the perfect first job.
The movie theater thing?
Dude, it was just basically like somewhere I went to like hang out and like paid $8 an hour for. Like it was the best first job ever.
Yeah, I mean I had a similar job to that. Being a math tutor was like super chill, and I just hung out with my buddy. We got high before. It didn't matter.
Oh, you taught math?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're actually smart.
No, I taught elementary school kids math. Dude, I can.
People just like you.
I think I was in a senior year, and I was like, if you're in 10th grade, I cannot help you. I'm like, if you're a dumb 10th grader, I can help you. But like some kids would come in there and they're like smart ass 10th graders, but they're like on the verge of how good they are at math. They're like, I'm in AP calculus. I'm like, I'm getting a C-, and I would really like that, and I'm like, fucking, don't look at me.
So
I have no idea.
Teaching kids like multiplication tables. And
Yeah,
stuff?
teach kids multiplication tables, or like like the best thing I could do like was like geometry. I'd be like, okay, I got geometry like down. Geometry's not that hard. I got an A in fucking freshman year.
Did you form like bonds with the kids that you would tutor?
One kid, dude. Every kid didn't want me because I was lazy as fuck and like high and like didn't give a shit and was just a bad teacher. And this one super hot girl who was dumb as shit. She used to come in and she sat with me for a while, but then switched away from me, and I saw her at school. She's like, "You're such a bad fucking tutor, dude. Like you're so bad." I'm like, "I know, I fucking suck, dude." I felt so cool.
Better at it just for her.
I honestly had that thought, but
did you feel cool when she said like,
"Oh
you
yeah,"
suck, and you're like,
I'm like, dude, like you're talking to me at school. You would never talk to me at school. This is crazy. And then I ran into her when I lost a bunch of weight, and she was like, "You look so good." I was like, "Bro, I'm a fucking." What you trying to do right now?
And her name was
what
Betty,
you trying to do,
Betsy?
No, not Betsy, dude. Betsy could. Betsy was so out of my league. She probably
start hearing some bleeps.
Yeah, she probably still is. No, I mean, Betsy's not. I mean, if she does, she just knows. I think she's attractive. I don't think that's a big deal.
Yeah, I'm sure Betsy's sexy as fuck.
Yeah, but if you out there, Betsy, hit me up.
If you like 20-year-old twinks.
Yeah, hey, Joe, fucking. Betsy's mine, dude. Don't fucking back the fuck up.
Say, people who don't act and look like Christophe.
Yeah, I'm just wearing your fucking sweater, so I'm feeling mad emasculated right now in multiple ways.
I feel like I should be telling you that you're a bad tutor. Right? So that's exactly how you looked when she said that.
Yeah, one kid loved me because I was a bad tutor, though, because he knew if he went with me, we weren't gonna get shit done, and he would just fuck around and he would just roast people. Dude, the kid was so fucking funny. And then like this one like really nerdy guy who was like super smart. And he was like the best tutor there. He was like really good friends with this other tutor who was this like really fat girl. And like he was this like, kind of, he looked like you kind of. And he was like, he was just like a little twinky skinny kid.
Okay.
And then this huge fat girl was his like best friend at the office or whatever, and they were like yucking it up, and he like leans over this like third grade kid. He's like, "That's his girlfriend," and I was like, "Yeah." It's more like a speech impediment.
Yeah, I think I've heard you and Ray go back and forth with the.
We're being the
He
Down
had some
syndrome.
bit about some kid going up to him with the Barney movie. You know what I'm talking
Oh yeah.
I overheard that conversation.
Yeah, dude, that shit's funny as hell.
That's the best movie.
I just want to let you guys know that is the best movie of all time.
I had some kid when I was working in the theater tell me it was like some fucking dog movie, the dog narration movies, you know, like Dog's Purpose 3.
Oh yeah, sure.
And yeah, some little kid came up to me, was like, that was a really good movie. And I really wanted to tell him, like, I fucking doubt it. There's no way that's good.
You have no fucking taste.
This is the only movie. Is this your favorite movie? I bet it is.
But he's probably, what was he, 7 years old?
No, yeah, he was in a little crib.
Yeah,
that
was a really good movie. You're like, you fucking idiot.
No, he's probably like 10. I mean, I thought shit, dude.
Yeah, what do you?
Alvin and the Chipmunks was so good when I was
Yeah, I'm sure, dude. You like dog shit movies. I loved. You probably do not know this movie, but Master of Disguise.
I fucking pistachio disguise.
Yeah, that shit was so good.
Dude,
I feel like it would still be good
I
now,
used to quote
but
that movie so much.
Really?
Am I not turtly enough for the turtle club?
Have we talked about Master of Disguise?
No,
I fucking love Master of Disguise, dude. Turtle enough the Turtle Club, bro. I mean,
Dude, where they made fun of her ass or whatever.
yeah, she had a huge ass or whatever.
No,
Was
I
that
think
one?
she had a tiny ass. They're really ahead of the game though.
Oh yeah, damn, she wasn't even thick.
Yeah, no, they were like, you got their tiny little waist.
Bro, Dana Carvey's like super good, but also that movie was just an excuse. Is like, how many really dumb things can we make David Carvey do
Just impressions.
in
yeah,
an
that was
hour
the
and 20
whole
minutes?
reason.
I'm going to be a master of disguise. That shit was like,
This is what you're doing.
oh yeah,
This is what I want you to do.
oh, that was classic.
I only remember certain moments. I don't remember the plot very well.
Oh my god, me and my dad is like really like loves like, I don't know, he has weirdly polarized taste in things. Like he like in comedy, he like loves Monty Python and he loves like Mel Brooks and the stuff that's like heralded as like great comedy. Like his favorite comics are like Carlin and Pryor. Like he has like really good taste. But then watching Master of Disguise with him, me and him are like pissing. He's like, we're like, thinking this is the funniest shit ever.
Well, that's why I think comedy is like it's way more subjective than like any other genre or like thing, because like, and I think it helps if you have very specific tastes. Like, or like, yeah, I watched like Good Boys last year. I thought the movie was fucking hilarious.
Good Boys.
The one with the little kids.
Oh yeah, the middle school. That was great. Yeah, that was really good. Really good.
Hits you in the right, or like Hot Rod is like one of my favorite movies.
I've never seen Hot Rod. I need to.
Hot Rod's fucking amazing, but it's one of those things like I could show somebody Hot Rod and easily they could be like, "This is so stupid."
Oh
like,
yeah,
why
dude.
do you like this?
I showed when I started doing comedy. I really loved Wet Hot American Summer.
That's a fucking great movie.
It's a perfect movie, and my parents and their friends were like, "Oh, what comedy should we want to watch a comedy tonight? What comedy should we watch? Because you love comedy. Like, what's your favorite comedy?" And I was like, "Wet Hot American Summer," and they watched it and they fucking hated it.
You know,
and it was the most awkward thing ever. And I was like, "Oh my god!"
Showing that movie to my parents. Or I mainly showed it to my mom because she loves like Airplane and like Spaceballs.
They love Airplane.
And I'm just like, because their jokes in Wet Hot American Summer I think are so similar to that, where it's like, or like, you know, let's meet back here in 10 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same type
Even
of
if it's
shit.
just for 1 hour, you know, it's
I think my mom just didn't get what, like, because most movies are like, you know, they kind of take themselves seriously to a certain extent. I don't think she got that it didn't take, like, there was nothing serious about it.
exactly.
Like,
I think
like they'd look at Paul Rudd's character, who is hilarious, and they'd be like, "What a dick!" And I'm like, how can you have that reaction? Like, he's not even a character. He's not real.
When he's like cleaning up and he's like, ugh. You remember that scene, like where he drops the fork?
I used to like do that, like, you know,
and
as a part of my regular.
That
thing.
scene's like so long. It's like stupidly long. It's like 2 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, it's like drags on purpose. Yeah. And it was so uncomfortable because they didn't like the joke, and it was like 3 minutes long.
I think that was the joke in the movie where I knew I would love it.
They're just like, oh man, this is going on so long, and I'm like, yeah, that's the fucking joke. Like, god damn it.
No, yeah, I think that movie really shaped. Like, when I saw it, it really blew my mind as far as it's like, I was like, holy shit. Like,
yeah, honestly, me too. I was like, if I ever write a comedy, it's gonna be a comedy that is just purely dumb.
Yeah, just
like,
how stupid it is.
Yeah, it's not gonna have any kind of like, I don't know, because what's popular now or at least was at the time in comedy was like kind of like Judd Apatow, where it's kind of serious and it's kind of like these grown people who have like real problems. You know what I mean? Like,
it has like heartfelt moments.
Yeah, and the whole and the story narrative has like a backbone to it or a grounding in
Like
reality.
40-year-old virgin and shit. And like,
Yeah, I mean 40-year-old virgin's fucking.
It
That's
is a
like
great
the
movie.
silliest one he made, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
I guess
that's the one that's
Superbad.
coming to mind where it's just, or because 40-year-old virgin is funny, but it is so like it does take itself seriously. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I mean there are scenes where he's like, yeah,
and
you
it
know.
is like a sweet movie that's like just like has like a nice beginning, middle, like nice structure to it.
Yeah.
And then Wet Hot American Summer is just like
jokes.
There's not even a fourth wall, you know, like that's, and not even like that it's breaking the fourth wall, but it's just not like the perfect scene in a movie. Like I think one of the funniest scenes in any movie to me is that first montage when they go in the city.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
And it's just that blew my mind. I was just this doesn't even make any sense. No, when they come back and they're like, I can't believe we've only been gone an hour.
yeah, I love going into the city, even if it's just for an hour. And like I watched that scene, I'm dying at the hour joke, and then like immediately they hit me with they just run into the shed and just put their face into the shed for no reason. I was like, holy fuck! It blew my fucking mind.
Or yeah, when he's like, oh, do you want to hook up with this girl? It's like, who? It's like, nice. And when to exit the scene, he just walks off the dock.
Yeah. No, it's just full of like, I don't know. It's full of I guess non sequiturs. I wouldn't know what to call it.
Nonsense. I mean, like,
yeah.
You know. But and I'm trying to find like movies like that, or like, and that's another one though where it's like I look on IMDb, it's like this really has like a 6.1.
Yeah, it's got like a 30 on Rotten Tomatoes, and you're like, how do you not love this movie? Oh yeah, the show was decent.
Or like, Roger Ebert, I think, gave it like a 1 and wrote like a song about like how much he hated it.
He wrote a song?
I think that was his review, was in the format of like a song with like a chorus, and I think the chorus was like, I hate this movie, I hate this movie.
Oh my god.
And I have no idea why. It's so amazing.
That's so weird. That's like, I heard that, I mean, Panics, what are they called? Critics like panned. I just combined pan and critic. I mean, panic.
Idiot.
Freudian slip right there. But the critics panned the shit out of like Ace Ventura. Like they like thought it was terrible. And
I love that movie as a kid.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Wait, really?
It's still good now. Yeah, they like hated it. And then I remember watching this like documentary about Jim Carrey, and then this one critic was like, I just didn't get it, and now I know he's brilliant. And
was it the Jim and Andy documentary?
It might have been, but I don't remember, but it was just something about how Jim Carrey went from being like, look at this fucking idiot. Like, that's such a critic thing to do to a comedian. What, he's being silly? What a fucking moron. Like, I don't know. It's just,
I mean, this could turn into just me. I just hate Jim Carrey as a person, but I do think he's really funny.
No,
he's in his old movies. I look back on, like Ace Ventura. I used to love and shit.
Ace Ventura's great. The Mask is great. Dumb and Dumber. Dumb and Dumber might be like a perfect movie.
I need to watch that.
You never seen Dumb and Dumber?
No, I've
oh
not.
Fuck, dude. Dumb and Dumber.
If I didn't grow up, or same with like I remember, or you might love it, but like a lot of people, the way I heard about it, I was expecting Step Brothers to be like this transcendent experience. Like people love Step Brothers and like quote it, and it's like such an iconic movie. And I finally watched it like last Thanksgiving. And I was like, yeah, that was okay. Like I don't like it didn't like blow my mind or anything.
I think if I saw Step Brothers now, I'd probably have a similar reaction. But I watched it like in theaters.
Yeah.
Like I watched it when it came out when I was like 12 years old, and I was like, this is perfect.
No,
this is amazing.
If I watched it back then, it would probably be.
It blew my mind. No, but I messed mine up because I accidentally turned mine. All right.
You silly boy.
Now we're good. Now we're both good.
Now we're even. All right, let's fix that in post.
Yeah, I'll just go back and do it in post. But now it actually looks even. Anyway, so let's start over.
Right,
no,
so Betsy.
Sorry about that fucking terrible fucking.
I think I was gonna say that it surprised me that people didn't love Beach Bum, and it had like a 5 on IMDb or something like that.
I watched it. It did not surprise me that people didn't like it. I mean, I think it was decent. I mean, to me, it was like, it felt like one of those. It felt like it was like it didn't commit to not having a story, but it tried to have a story at the same time. It felt like a little wishy-washy as far as like structurally. Yeah,
structurally. I mean because to me that took some getting used to, and that's why I think the second time I saw it, I knew what it was, because like it really does feel like just these one-off little, like then you'll have one character and then that'll go away. It just felt like these little bits.
Yeah, but it didn't. I felt like it didn't commit to little bits enough, because it had that whole thing where he's like, if you don't write the thing,
yeah, that's like the only plot.
Yeah, and I'm like, why even include that?
But that's almost like a bait and switch too, because. Or mainly when like he starts going to rehab, and that's when I really thought that the movie was gonna like change, and like
Oh, that's
like
true.
when I was in the theater, I was like, okay, here's the story. He's
Yeah.
the end of the movie, he's gonna be sober and learn a lesson.
Yeah. I had a lot of moments in that movie where I was going, okay, here's the story.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
and then and then he goes to rehab and he just gets out. But that's the point. Is like it's
I guess it gives you one thing and then says no. I guess it does.
Yeah, because you
now
think
that I'm
he's gonna
realizing
change,
that.
but the point of the movie is that he doesn't change. Like,
Yeah, that's true. It's like the wedding. Oh, he's not going to change for his daughter's wedding. Oh, whatever. Like he's going to start a business with Martin Lawrence.
Yeah, and it doesn't work
no,
out.
he's not going to start a business with Martin Lawrence.
Oh, he's gonna chill with Christian rock Zac Efron, and oh no,
Nope,
he's leaving.
He's just
yeah.
gonna leave. Oh yeah, now that you say that, it just kind of cleared up in my head a little bit.
Well, yeah, like I said, the first time I watched it, I really didn't love it. But then it was like once I realized that I was just watching it whenever I was bored, and that it just like I think I was like 5 views in, and I was like, I guess I do like this movie.
I guess I really love this movie.
Yeah, I guess it's my favorite movie of the year. I've seen it the most.
Dude, yeah, I've done that with comedy specials too, where I'm like, oh, it's a pretty good comedy special. I'm gonna watch it again, and then like
Which
by
ones
the
do
time
you
I've
usually
seen it
rewatch?
a million times, me doing stand up. That's Norm
Oh,
Macdonald.
I gotta watch that. I
Oh,
tried
you
watching
definitely
his
gotta
the one that was on Netflix.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
That's like a really good. I mean, I love Norm so much that anything he does is amazing. But me doing stand up is like a perfect stand up album.
Yeah, I think honestly the stand up specials I've seen the most is probably Bo Burnham. Yeah, because I
you fucking
just
queer.
growing up, yeah, because I remember Bo Burnham really blew my mind as a kid, and then just watching with people, because I feel like it's really hard to. I don't like watching specials with somebody else.
No, I don't.
Yeah, like if we're chilling or smoking weed or something like that, and somebody's like, "Oh, let's watch some comedy," it's always a little bit weird.
Yeah.
Because you're not laughing at everything, and not
Unless
everything's
I
that
know
funny.
someone really well, and I'm like, I know they'll love this.
Yeah, like I've shown people that 10-minute little Louis bit, the one from like 04 or
Oh
whatever.
yeah.
Like I think that's a perfect piece of comedy. And for a similar reason, just because it's so fucking like weird, you know? Or
it
just
is
so
really
like stupid.
Yeah, it starts off so. I mean, that's why I think his best album is Live at the Comedy Store.
Is that the one with like that's where it's real red and he's got the Batman bit and all that?
Yeah,
yeah,
I
that's
think
a great
his-
special.
I think that's his best special, and everyone's like, "No, dude, it's hilarious," or like, I don't know. I'm like, I think it's fucking because he starts off, he's talking gay. He's talking gay at the beginning.
And I found a version of that or like a leak thing of like around that time where it was the same material from that special, just like at a club where he's just kind of like looser, and it's so dude, some of the shit, like the bit about like him coming or like him making the noise when he pees.
Yeah.
And
That's my
like,
favorite bit on that special.
Yeah, no, and then he's like, and here's the bit when I come. Here's what I sound like when I come.
Yeah, no, that shit's so good. That's just like, that's one of those like, I don't know, I feel like he was like, I'm just gonna be, it's like comedy for comedy's sake. There's no like real through line or anything
point
or
or,
point.
you know.
It's just, but it's like obnoxiously absurd, like, or not obnoxious, but like just so silly.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about the other day. Was you've seen Talking Funny, right? Yeah, I think we talked about it before, but Ricky Gervais really bugged me in that.
Oh, he fucking sucks.
Because he's just like, because the thing I was thinking about was where they talk about the sitting on the cock because I'm gay.
Yeah.
And that's a fucking hilarious thing.
Yeah.
But Ricky Gervais insisted that it wasn't funny. I guess because it wasn't like smart or something like that.
He was like saying like, oh, like he's like, you enjoy that ironically. You don't enjoy that genuinely.
But
And
then
it's
it's like, what the fuck does that even mean? Like,
yeah,
it's funny because it's stupid.
Yeah, no, Louis defended himself pretty well. He was just like, nah, I just think it's funny. Like,
yeah, and that's what it comes down to.
That's where it should end. I mean, like, a certain level of analysis past, or like putting that analysis on sitting on a cock because I'm gay is kind of dumb.
Yeah,
It's like, why does it fucking matter?
I think I almost used to think that comedy, or not that it had to, but that like I wanted my comedy to be like smart, or like that it has to have like some like, you know, intellectual value or some, you know, personal value or whatever. But you know, it's like the point of a comedy is to be like really funny.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's like I could compare, you know, any bit I could come up with about my childhood or some like personal story to like talking about big dicks. And it's like the big dicks is always going to get more laughs than.
Yeah, but there's a fine line there, though, between that and just being a hack. Like,
yeah, that's true.
Like hacks say the same thing. Where they're going like, oh, I'm just trying to be funny. All these guys coming up there with their smart shit. I don't fucking care. I'm going to talk about, E.T. looks like a pile of shit. You ever noticed that?
So
Like,
yeah, you do have both ends of the spectrum because you have those guys being like, these people coming up there being smart, and then you got the other people being like, these guys coming up there, talking about
their
dicks and
yeah.
stuff. I'm a real comic. I talk about my father or whatever.
Yeah, I speak truth to power, and I make neutral Milk Hotel references.
Oh,
It's like, bro, no one cares.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, you got to find a balance between the two. I mean, like Louis is the best example. Norm's a great example of that too, because he says some really smart shit, but he's looking like an idiot the entire time. Like that's my favorite thing about him is that he's like plays the idiot, but he will like make a brilliant point, but like stumbling through it. And
Yeah, I think that's the trick, and not only that, but in life when like I mentioned a point before of like being too pretentious or talking, getting into all that life stuff, and you sound like an idiot, or you sound like you're trying to be too smart.
Yeah,
and I think the ultimate way just to not sound like you're trying to be smart is just to be funny about it. You know what I mean? Like if you can be funny and say smart shit at the same time, like that's like the perfect combination.
That is really good. I mean, but if you can be funny about it, then you actually know it. I think that's a big part of it, because you can sound pretentious about things and not know what you're talking about. But But if you make a joke about it, you pretty much got it.
Yeah, and you're being funny. You're not you're not just like bringing the mood down while everybody's
you're putting the like interesting thing, or you're putting something interesting around the smart thing you're saying.
Yeah, that was pretty much like, or like that's like if I were to go back and read it, because it's been a while, but like my puppet show or like any of the writing I used to do was just like something like super deep, and then like talking about my dick, or like just like those two things.
Trying to balance that out.
Yeah, I would never want to. Because that's fun, or like that was like that's just funny to me. Is if you say something, like just go off about your fucking.
There needs to be like levity to it or something.
Yeah, because something that's one way or the other is just too. It's a balancing act, I guess. Oh, I was gonna bring up Louis on the 2017 special, the abortion bit. I think is a good example of like something that is like when I stopped and thought about it, I was like, that is pretty deep, but also he's saying it in like such a funny way.
The silliest way possible. It's so weird. He kind of like almost exactly copies Carlin there.
Really? What, does Carlin have a similar bit?
Carlin opens with an abortion bit.
Is it the same sort of stance on it?
No, it's not. It's funny as hell. It's like one of his classic jokes. Like he comes out and they're all plotting. They're going nuts for him. He goes, shut up. He tells them all to shut up. And he goes, you ever notice that the people protesting abortion, you wouldn't want to fuck anyway?
I have heard that bit before.
Yeah. And so like he just comes out winging with that. Like,
he's got a great rape joke too. The
Elmer Fudd one?
Yeah, that was so really good. And that's when people, I think I've seen people bring up Carlin as like, or some, the people on like the fucking far left or whatever you want to call it, be like, see, Carlin was, telling people not to joke about stuff or something like that. I was like, what are you talking about?
No,
like Carlin joked about the most gruesome shit.
Yeah, I think someone fucking put that up. Oh, I saw that on Instagram. Some like LA comic I know posted like Carlin on on their Instagram saying like, oh, I think comedy's always been about speaking truth to power, and when you like, this is Carlin talking. And he's like, and when you punch down, it's really not good, and blah, blah, blah. Like, he said that on, like, Larry King or something.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, what about all his rape stuff? And, like...
No, it really bothers me when people I think it was somebody talking about Jojo Rabbit or something like that, and was just like, see, here's a movie that isn't, trying too hard to be edgy or whatever, that accomplishes this and is funny. And I'm like, we can have both. I don't understand why we can't have edgy shit and like
if you don't like edgy shit, you don't like edgy. No, a lot of people try to make things objective like that, or they try to make it so that like, oh, see, this is good, this is bad, like, there's clear lines in it or whatever.
I hate that shit. They're wrong. They're objectively wrong.
I don't like living in that area. I just want as much random shit to exist.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I might like the most bizarre combination of things or whatever, and if you like draw super rigid lines, and it's just, I don't know, it seems stifling and unnecessary.
Yeah, anybody who's closed-minded like that. I mean, I've had that tendency throughout my life to just be like, oh, these things suck. And
yeah. I do that, to be honest. I do that with stand-up. Like, if you bring a guitar, instantly I'm like, ugh. Like, there's a part of me that's just like, why do you gotta fucking do that? Like, even your little gay poetry bit, like...
Oh, really?
I'm
when
like,
you saw that for the first time?
Why do you need a piece of paper? Like, why do you need to do... like, why do you need to do a shtick?
It's all coming out.
No, I mean, it's not a bad bit. I've seen it do well, and it's, like, obviously fake. But to the point, I don't know. I don't like...
Well, I think that bit I did to my high school class junior year, and it fucking nailed, and I've been doing it ever since. And it's been so long. I was saying this the other day that it's been so long since I like came up with that bit. I don't even really know what's funny about it anymore.
Burn it, dude. Just burn it.
I mean, I still like it because it's so weird, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't understand like why it's funny. Like I know it is. Like people laugh at it, but I'm like, is it the character? Is it the?
Yeah, it's the fact that you're telling them to shut the fuck up. It's like the fact that you're saying the title and then the title has nothing to do with it. And it's full of cliches.
Yeah,
it's.
I think all that I was thinking at the time I wrote it.
Yeah, it's bathed in irony.
Yeah, and which again is if that's all it is, then there's no substance.
There is no substance
to that bit. Yeah, I guess not. But like I guess my other stuff is sort of trying to be more honest or whatever. But
yeah.
definitely like the Eric Andre type thing where all it is just ironic.
Right.
Like
you couldn't put that in the middle.
No, I couldn't end with that bit. I've thought about it.
You could end with it, or you could open with it, but I don't think you could put it in the middle.
Yeah,
they'd be like, "Wait, what is this guy? Wait, is he a character? I don't get it. Wait, what's going on?"
It definitely works the best if I stand up on stage and I'm looking awkward.
Yeah.
You know.
But then, see, I've had a similar thing where I made this dumb joke that I took very seriously about my dog dying. I don't know if you see me do it, but it's like, oh, Pepsi.
Yeah, I've seen that bit. Yeah.
Like, I kind of hate that bit because it's a good opener, but I have to do this character bit while I'm doing it, and I can't. And
do you think you could do that in the middle?
No, I couldn't do. I've tried to do it in the middle. It doesn't work in the middle. It works at the end or it works at the beginning.
Yeah, I guess that is kind of similar to because again, I think part of it's the character and part because literally like I almost want to drop that bit simply because the funniest bit, like the bit that gets the most laughs at that is if I can precisely sort of like in the best place say shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
If I say shut the fuck up and then everybody erupts, I'm like, damn, they're not even really laughing at the bit. Like I guess they are. Like I plan to say that, but like, it's not funny.
It is funny, but it's just not based in anything. Like to me, I mean, I don't know. I like my favorite comedy is like kind of like the tough sell comedy. Where like the bit is about rape or whatever. Like
I would love to start being able to say some of the shit that you do on stage as far as like just because again I love edgy.
Yeah.
And edgy is such a stupid word, but when you're in a group of friends and you're just saying awful stuff.
Yeah, the worst things on your mind.
That's the hardest I ever laugh is just like
ever.
And I want to be able to translate that to the stage, but it's hard for I think I tried to do a bit about my racist granddad once and like the crazy stuff he would say.
Yeah.
And it just didn't. It felt weird, like saying it.
I'm if I have an offset and the crowd isn't really liking me, then half my whole act is like I'm fucked. Like I'm just fucked. Like I had this like really awful realization the other night. I was like, fuck, if I'm not likable. I mean, this probably applies to basically all comics, but a lot of comics are just like inherently likable, or their material is safe, or
like Preacher Lawson.
Yeah, Preacher, or like I don't know, just a lot of open mic guys who like do pretty good. Like their act is pretty good. Like I'm not gonna lie, it's not like the jokes are bad. It's not like the writing's bad. It's just what they talk about is like, dog people are silly, and like they just every joke they do, they're gaining likability.
Yeah, like my son did this cute thing the other day.
Yeah. I mean, these kids with their rattles, you wouldn't believe it, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But me, I'm trying to be like, I had a crippled boss before. That was wacky, like, and people are like, oh god, he's gonna say something horrible about the crippled people. Oh god, oh geez. And then like I don't know, some crowds love it and they want you to double down, and like that's like the best where you can just like. Say the N-word.
No, do you ever notice your bits though, or like the similarities between bits that you have are sort of because I noticed that I've come up with like several bits where it's like me setting something up and then like setting something up as if it's bad and then being like, oh, but how good is it though? Or like I have like multiple bits in that same format of like where it's like, oh, my friend has a big dick and like, oh, it's bad for this reason. I'm like, oh, how cool is that?
Yeah, that's a mechanic. I mean, that's just misdirection.
I noticed it's the exact same thing where I'm like, I've talked to a heroin addict. He said heroin is this bad, but how cool is that?
Yeah. No, I think, when I see you doing that, I feel like people know that you're doing that, and it's almost like a callback.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
I mean, that's how I read it, and you might not have done it on purpose, but I mean, that's totally fine as long as like the audience I don't know. There's like no rules basically in stand up because every time I try to
But there's
describe
definitely
something,
good things and bad things.
yeah.
You know?
I mean, I try to like just like with that, I would try to describe it like, oh, if the audience doesn't see it coming, it's okay, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes, like, the audience is like kind of begging you to say the punchline. Like they already know the punchline, and they're like, "Oh, he said it."
Yeah,
Fuck
you can kind of feel it. You know what I mean?
You're
You're
like,
like,
"Oh, he's gonna say.
everybody's getting ready. Everybody's gonna
everyone's amped up, and then you do it. They're like,
yeah.
We're so happy you said what we thought you were gonna say." Other times, they're like, "That came out of nowhere." Like, so both things work. So like, I don't know if it gets laughed, just keep doing it. Like if it kills, it kills. Like, I don't know. Try not to think too hard about it.
Yeah, I don't want to analyze like what, because at the end of the day, nobody knows what makes something funny.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
You can like posture. Like I don't know. I've read like a wiki on it, and like there's like superiority theory, and then there's like relief. Like it's always tension and release, pretty much though.
Yeah, I used to have some like fucking memorized goddamn bit or like some rant about how like. I used to think it was taking situations and I guess the word I used was like objectifying it, like, or I noticed like if you tell an embarrassing story, it's like taking a situation, like taking suffering. This is such a stupid way of saying it. Like taking suffering, like something that is like awful, and taking yourself out of the situation and like looking back on it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And you can apply that to like 100 different things. You know what I mean? Like when something tragic is funny, it's like. Yeah. But then,
plus tragedy plus time or whatever.
Yeah, all that shit. And so that was sort of my but then there's so much comedy that is just ironic and absurd and like, so I'm like, that doesn't really fit into that narrative.
No, there's multiple ways to get a laugh. I mean, there's a lot of different ways. But like I would think that would just be like self-deprecation where you're detached from, but you have to be detached from the thing.
Anything, you know what I mean, like 9/11 jokes or Holocaust jokes or whatever. Anything that's suffering, just if you're taking yourself out of it and looking at it from like sort of an objective point of view, just being like, that's fucking that's weird, right?
Like I bet the guy flying the plane had a banana that day. It's like whatever. You make it like you make it devoid of emotion, and then it's funny. Yeah,
but the sensation of laughter confuses me. Just like when it happens, when I laugh at something, I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, what the fuck just happened? I'll laugh at. Sometimes I feel like I'm going insane. Like you ever just like have a shit day and just start cracking up? Like it's like
just something dumb. I remember my roommate Sebastian. I was just like playing Tetris or something. He just like walks out and just goes Bananakin Skywalker, and that hit me at the right fucking spot. Yeah, I was laughing at it for like 10 minutes.
I saw a fucking meme the other day. It was just like a video of a frog sitting on a bench, and the song "Give Me the Beat, Boys." And I was like, I could not control myself.
Oh, memes are a whole different conversation,
so fucking
dude.
Hard.
Memes don't make any sense.
I was like weeping on the toilet. And then the caption was like, when you got diarrhea at 3 a.m. and work in 4 hours. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to fucking piss myself. This is so goddamn funny.
Yeah, there will be like an image of like a frog that's like all distorted and be like diarrhea, N-word, poo-poo.
Yeah.
No, if I'm high as fuck looking at some memes that I saved, dude, I'm just dude. Like, it is that thing of like when it's like what people found funny in the 70s, it's like Golden Girls or whatever, and it's like what people find funny now. It's like the letter E with like a distorted image of like a fucking.
Yeah, we're in this weird phase, and part of me looks at memes and goes, "We don't need stand up."
I guess, yeah.
We really don't need it. Like
it does. It is kind of an antiquated form
really
of entertainment.
Is. I think Tim Dillon talked about it on his podcast being like, it's a boomer art form. Like it's a brick wall. It's like a building from the 80s. It's in a strip mall. Like it's margaritas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's the places are called like Crackers. Like it's weirdly old.
But there's a lot of stand-ups that kids are still talking. You talk about like the new Dave Chappelle special with people, and you talk about how many fucking white girls know John Mulaney or like
we should do John Mulaney impressions on every single podcast. I don't think stand-up's going anywhere.
You're so much better at it. Wait, I just want to give you things to say.
As Mulaney, you can feed me stuff. I'll do it.
Diarrhea, N-word,
diarrhea, N-word. I like watching men have sex with my wife. John Mulaney's the biggest cuck of all time.
And I said, keep doing that, sir.
You're what we call a bull. I liked it. Dude, Mulaney's fun to do.
I want to just do other comedians' bits as John Mulaney. And here's how I sound when I come.
Oh, yeah, that'd be funny. You ever see that? I'm not afraid of you motherfuckers. I ain't never had no fun. You ever heard that joke?
No.
Bernie Mac, he's like, I'll do this Mulaney. I guess
I'll respond as Gilbert Godfrey.
he's like, I was at a barbecue the other day, and a friend asked me, does pussy taste like pumpkin pie? And I said, what the hell kind of question is that?
That's the end.
He goes, I've never had no pumpkin pie. I gotta break it.
And I said pumpkin pie. What are you talking about?
That's pretty good.
I don't go high enough on the Godfrey. I feel like when
he gets really.
He could like strain his voice, dude. He gets fucking wild.
I just remember him from the Billy and Mandy Christmas special, where he just plays Santa, and he's like a vampire, and he's like, "I'll swallow your soul."
Jesus Christ,
it's amazing.
I'll have to check that out, dude. Billy and Mandy was fucking dope.
It's one of the best cards. I mean, it's weird because it's all like horror shit from like there's a whole Cthulhu episode. But no, it's funny. Remember Fred Burger?
I do remember. I could do I was very popular in 5th grade because I could do a Fred Burger impression.
This is the first time you've done it since?
I think so.
Let's do it. Let's hear it.
I'm trying to remember even. I mean, Fred Burger. Like, you know, it's not the craziest impression to do.
John Mulaney doing Fred.
Fred.
Yes.
I don't even remember it.
Fred Burger.
Fred Burger. Like delay it like that. Mulaney is really fucking talented, though. It's kind of wild.
No, I just listened to his Mark Maron one where he was talking about his. It's good.
Like his coke life.
Yeah, or doing coke won't make your ex-girlfriend get back with you, but it will make her worry about you. And at the end of the day, what's the difference?
That's super funny. I remember that, dude. I remember that.
But no, I remember Mark Maron talking about how he had like a problem with John Mulaney because it was such like a character of like these like weird, you know, it's like, what is he doing? Is he like from the 30s or whatever?
Oh, yeah. Mark Maron has a problem with anything.
Yeah. Him talking to Bo Burnham is so funny.
Yeah, oh yeah, on the green room.
He's like, yeah, it's cute. Well, no, he also had him on his podcast a couple times and just didn't.
He's like, yeah, I don't get it. It's not for me.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you for what you are. That was, yeah, during the Ben Schwartz one, he's just like, yeah, and I appreciate what you do the singing and the dancing, and Ben Schwartz is like, I can't wait to see you watch improv.
Oh man, god damn, dude, yeah, Mark's such a fucking hard ass like about comedy, which I like relate more to Mark than the like improvisers he brings on.
Yeah, I can't be that, but I was watching the thing with Thomas Middleditch, you know, and he's so gay. You know,
Middleditch is really extra for sure.
But no, same with like Ben Schwartz. Like I feel like for the improv, it's just so gay and so you know, bouncing off the walls and doing like characters and singing. I don't even know what to call it. I guess it's like performative. Like it's. But I love it. Like I think he was so funny, but I could never be that. You know.
Yeah,
off the walls. Yeah, I could never be that fun
or funny or interesting or talented. Yeah, I get that. I totally understand why you'd think that. For sure, dude.
I knew we'd end up here eventually.
Yeah, it makes sense that we'd end up here. See how long we've done. I feel like we've done a good amount of time. We're right at an hour.
Oh shit!
An hour and yeah.
Is that it? We over?
I mean, we did an hour.
Yeah, it was a good podcast.
Wrap it up.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of this I'll put out either.
Yeah, there was some Holocaust stuff in here.
Yeah, I don't know.
There was some Down syndrome impressions.
I appreciate your lack of whatever the word is. You're not inhibited.
Well, I feel like it's because I'm not used to the fact that it's being recorded.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm just talking to you, but then I remember.
It's a good thing.
But again, thinking back to what we talked about, I wouldn't want anyone to hear this. You know what I mean?
We should just. This is gonna be the most edited podcast.
Yeah, it's just one long beep.
It's just me going, yeah. So the other day, and then you cuts to you, and you're just doing Gilbert Gottfried, and then it cuts back to me, and I'm like, yeah. Well, anyway, I don't know if we're gonna put this out. That's the whole thing. That should be the name of the podcast. I don't think we should release this. The podcast.
For the next one, I will remember
that. Great. Like It's so funny how like someone like Rogan will talk about like, yeah, dude, just fucking say it, just like do your thing, just say whatever I say, I let it go, I let it fly. We're just having a conversation.
Yeah, but they're not.
But
They're not
they
being like, I do. That movie was good.
Just doing straight retard voice.
Or yeah, like if you say like, oh, there was this really fat girl in my class, my first reaction is to go, ew. And then I remember like, is that even funny? Like, what if I was listening to that?
Yeah, you'd probably think, oh, what is it?
Yeah, you'd be like, this guy's a
problem?
dick.
He's a real asshole.
Yeah, yeah. Like if I'm talking to you, I'm not worried. Like if I'm coming across as likable.
Yeah, you have to imagine we're doing this live.
Yeah,
I think that would help.
Yeah, maybe. Okay.
Maybe next time. I think third time's a charm.
Third time's a goddamn charm. Maybe we'll have a gimmick the next time too. I want to get up some
could
advice
try it.
shit.
I'm gonna. Yeah, I think I'm gonna stop it.
See you later.
Bye.